From an announcement outside of Black Ops 4 to the entire update of 1.11, today was actually a pretty big day for Black Ops 4 fans and people that play the game on a regular basis. So today we're going to break down everything that did change and also let you guys know about some cool announcement coming up here as of Thursday and what you can expect here for all that. That said, let's just jump right into it. So starting out with the announcement, because it's not as big as a lot of the topics of discussion we'll talk about here within this and really doesn't have as much implications on the game itself, but the thing that was announced today was that actually Blackout is going to be free for all players starting this Thursday on January 17th and going until the 24th, so a 7-day period for Xbox One, PlayStation 4, and PC users. So if you got a friend that doesn't have the game, doesn't own it, but you'd like to play some Battle Royale with them, you have the absolute opportunity to do so with this. And I think this is an absolutely massive move here for Blackout and Black Ops 4 as a whole. I honestly think this is a great stepping stone, and hopefully this leads to something else in the future. We'll talk about that probably at a later date, but regardless, the announcement here today came that there will be a week-long period of free-to-play for Blackout, in particular on all consoles. So if you're interested in that or want to take out some noobs that may be jumping on, that's something you can totally look out for in the next upcoming week. That said, in terms of the update itself, it was roughly about 10 gigabytes on PlayStation 4. It launched as of 10 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. So for those of you guys watching the video now, you either already have it, or by the time you turn on your PlayStation 4, Xbox One, and hopefully PC, I don't know exactly on PC, you should have it at this point. It's about 10 gigabytes though for PlayStation 4, probably a little more on Xbox One, but it covered a lot of different details, some more so than others. So that said, starting out with the multiplayer side of things, what all changed here with this? The big thing you might notice is brand new playlists within Black Ops 4. You have Chaos Control is that brand new featured one that is actually kind of returning. That's the big one that's prominently shown off in the main menu, and also the big one that is first selected whenever you go in and take a look at all the options available. Chaos Control is actually pretty awesome. It is something that if you have a team and you want to slay out, it can definitely give you somewhere of 100, 200, maybe 300 kills depending on who you are. And I saw a friend of mine, Frizz Eyes, actually posted he had a gameplay of over 500 kills. So Chaos Control boasts unlimited lives. You also have a capture time increase of 2 minutes per zone, and also the round limit is increased to 3.5 minutes, and that does not include if players are on the zone or not. So it can theoretically go anywhere up to just around 7 minutes if that all works out and you play it exactly. So with each team having to win 3 rounds before the game is over, that can make it a really long game. But then on top of that, you also end up seeing you have TDM 100 added in. You have Team Tactical Mosh Pit, which offers up TDM, Kill Confirmed, and Search and Destroy, which actually a little bit of post-editing now. This was actually a little bit changed out. Depending on what time you watch this, it may be fixed out, so you still have Team Tac again, but if you're watching it at a time where it's not there, Map Pack Mosh Pit was added in place of that or reinstated back, and that's simply because what Treyarch detailed is that they're ensuring that the integration of both the maps of Elevation and Madagascar are in the regular rotation properly and aren't going to cause any issues. So for the time being, Map Pack Mosh Pit is there, but they're being transitioned into the full entire rotation. So that's something. Team Tac should be back here for you guys shortly, and of course, you might see it even as of this video going live. Outside of that, you also have Mercenary Deathmatch Mosh Pit and also Mercenary Hardcore Mosh Pit, with Mercenary Deathmatch being just TDM and Kill Confirmed, but also the Hardcore Mosh Pit including TDM, Domination, and Kill Confirmed. So you have one more game mode on top of that in the hardcore modes. But the next change to multiplayer, and in particular the playlist at hand, is that Madagascar and Elevation now are in the regular rotation, or should be. Again, kind of post-edit work here with this. We did mention that the Map Pack Mosh Pit was added back in, and so therefore might not be entirely there in every single playlist, but it will be working its way in, and for the time being, there might just be a little bit of a setback here at that one. Outside of that, though, we also had a couple of different game modes changed around a little bit and had some fixes deployed. For Heist in particular, we actually now have the SWAT and Daemon new weaponry added in alongside the Combat Axe as well as the Disruptor for things that you could end up buying. And it also fixed an issue where if you previously were not granted black market progression, you should now be whenever you end up going and playing. Unfortunately, I don't think this kind of backtracks and counts for everything you may have missed, but it is something that now going forward, if you're a Heist fan, you won't be missing out on your tier progression in the black market. For Hardpoint, this is actually something that had a little bit of an interesting change here. There's now overtime. So in the rare case that you'll end up having a tie at the end of the time limit and a example of that being both teams just don't jump on the hill in the time behind the score counter runs out. There will be then an overtime period in which the next team to get a single point wins. So all it does is kind of do a sudden death type of thing, but theoretically, if both teams are going for kills, the game never really has to end. But that'd be an interesting thing to see if that actually could happen, because I don't know if with randoms and also communicating with the other team, you'd be able to pull it off. Regardless, outside of that, Search and Destroy had a little bit of a fix where there was a bug in which you could end up winning the round. Even though the bomb could detonate, you'd still be able to defuse after it detonated. So that's something that was fixed out. And then in free-for-all, assault packs now can be interacted with after being hacked by Zero. In terms of specialists, there was a few changes here at this one. Zero had probably the most prominent changes here at this one. The biggest part of Zero is that specialists are now no longer prevented from using their weaponry and equipment when hacked. That's actually pretty big, because Zero pretty much rendered everything useless, and so therefore was kind of a crutch specialist in some cases, but that's no longer the case with some scenarios. Ruin had an adjustment to its grav slam, so if you were killed through a wall or a floor before, you shouldn't anymore, because barriers now affect the range and damage and kind of mitigate some of that may have happened between any of those instances where you were around a wall or you were on a completely different floor. In terms of crash, there was one that I didn't even know existed, but the TAC 5 no longer removes the hack status from players who are affected by Zero. I truthfully had no idea that existed. I really wish that I did, because that'd be an awesome little life hack in Black Ops 4. But outside of that, we also see a little bit of weapon customization now. The Killathon reactive camo for the GKS wasn't working properly, and now it will properly unwrap after 50 kills with the camo equipped. Previously, the challenge told you 5 kills without dying, but that actually wasn't the challenge. Instead, it was all along apparently 50 kills with the camo being equipped, but it now accurately displays that challenge whenever you're looking at it. Outside of that, we also have a few new features in terms of, one, a dark matter change in which it's now not as bright. It's not blinding if you end up getting into that 10, 15, 20, 25 range of the camo where it reacts to that. The brightness of the camo itself got toned down, so you should not be blinded when aiming down sight anymore. It still looks pretty good, I think, but you can definitely tell that it was toned down and was an effort not to blind players, which is always a great thing. And then outside of that, we also end up seeing that there was a new clear all new items marker added in, which is fantastic, especially given that every prestige it would reset and you'd have a million things labeled as brand new in your customization. So you can now get rid of all that all in one sweep, which is fantastic, and I'm all for that change. Now, outside of multiplayer content, we can start getting into some of the Blackout stuff and zombies, and this is honestly where a lot of the content comes in. There are some fixes and changes deployed for multiplayer, but a lot of the stuff dealing with this actually deals with new content added in. For Blackout, of course, we have that brand new looting interface, which I think is fantastic. It replaces the previous dead bag and dead stash looting of simply going across and trying to find everything in a not so optimized way. PC I still think is the best way to do this in their looting interface, but this now brings it back up, or at least closer to where PC is. You end up having 2 or 3 rows of 5 items listed depending on what that player had in their inventory. It will show 2 if it doesn't fill up that 2, or just at that 2 for 10 items, or if they had a full 15 inventory with ammo, armor, utility, weapons, all that kind of stuff, it will then display rows of 3, and then you can end up tabbing over for multiple pages of that. So it's definitely something that is a lot more useful, and it's a lot quicker to see what you want and to be able to pick and choose what you want as well. I'm all for this change. It is something that I think still is a little bugged. I've heard some issues about this where players will get stuck and have to go outside of the bag but then re-enter, so hopefully that gets fixed out, but this is a great stepping stone in the right direction. Additionally, talking a little bit further about the stash and looting is that there's now the ability for items to be stacked instead of having to grab them individually, which is fantastic as well. And then also, you'll end up seeing that if there is armor in the dead bag or dead stash, you'll end up seeing just how damaged or healthy it is. It'll show you the health and the remaining armor left whenever you go to pick it up. So it's definitely something that helps you quickly realize, wait, I could use this, or maybe I should just let this one go. One big thing that changed in a sense within Blackout as well that I was really anticipating was an adjustment to concussions. Now, we threw out yesterday in our video of things to look out for a couple of ideas on how we thought this could work, whether that be just increasing the spawn rate of reinforced to counter it, whether that be to actually nerf any of the attributes that it offered in terms of immobility, blindness, and also the inability to fire accurately outside of a hip fire. Any of those things could have worked, but instead, we only got an adjustment to the stack rate of concussions. So they still spawn the same amount, they still are able to be found just as easy, they still do just as much damage in blinding and immobilizing a player, but you just can't stack them anymore. The stack rate of this is now only set to 1, so each individual concussion is in your inventory. Personally, I'm a bit disappointed with this one. I thought that it was going to be something that actually had some meaningful change, but I guess is the stepping stone. But regardless, it's still super easy to be blinded by this. It's still super easy to spam them. It's just something that you have to be a little more conservative with your inventory if you want to do that. But it's still most definitely one of the most OP things to pick up, or most worthwhile things to pick up. So unfortunately, it's not as big a change as a lot of us wanted, but it is something that changed ever so slightly. And the final thing for Blackout to really talk about dealt with a little bit of an Armory and Specialist bug, which is now actually fixed around a little bit. Again, post-editing this, going back and redoing a little bit of this. For a brief period after the update, the Armory actually was non-existent within Blackout. It was removed for some reason, and also some Specialists were locked in Blackout with the numbers uniform also missing for some of those, but I think those should be fixed out on all platforms. Now, Treyarch ended up saying they were aware and they did deploy a fix for Armory. As for the Specialists, I'm hoping that also accounted for it as well. I personally didn't experience the Specialist bug, but moving over into the Zombies aspect of Black Ops 4 and this update, the celebration for 115 Day, January 15th, or Element 115 Day, we now have Zombies Double XP, Zombies Double Weapon XP, and 2x Nebulium Plasma live until the 18th. So definitely jump on, try out the new stuff, which there's a lot of cool stuff to try out, and also get rewarded for it in the process. In terms of the new thing up on deck, the big addition here is the introduction of Gauntlets. I'm going to tell you straight up, this is a ton of fun. Being somebody that has only played Zombies sparingly in Black Ops 4, though absolutely loved it in previous titles, this is something that I've longed for quite some time. The replayability of this is going to be absolutely fantastic, and each round offering a brand new unique challenge for 30 rounds is fantastic. So the first one up on deck is the Unsinkable Gauntlet, live now on Voyage of Despair. It's 30 rounds of challenges with unique rule sets for each individual one. Players also end up getting tiered rewards for completing rounds 10, 20, and 30. The only one that I got whenever I died at 18, so I just missed that 20 mark. I ended up getting the bronze medal here at this one. I got a calling card here for that, but it also ends up giving additional rewards once you end up completing round 30 without failing a round. So there's some cool things to definitely strive for. It does take a little bit of time, and some of them are quite insane. The one at round 16, you had to only use the S6 to clear a round, which was insanely tough, but it is something that my team managed to do it. Shout out to the two randoms that I was playing, and also Courier Ink Slasher. But if you end up failing any of the challenges during that round, you are issued a strike for failing it, and then it will restart that round. After 3 strikes, you're done. The game's over. All matches are also timed for a sort of competitive speedrun nature, but it's seriously a ton of fun. If you haven't tried it out just yet, definitely give it a shot. Outside of the gauntlets, though, additional things that were added were new elixirs. You have 3 of those being Perk Up, Refreshment, and Conflagration Liquidation. Perk Up allows you to gain 4 additional random perks that are not in your loadout. Refreshment allows for a refresh of the cooldowns for equipment, perks, and special weapons for your entire team. And Conflagration Liquidation spawns a bonfire sale power-up. Outside of a lot of stability fixes and other things that are very minor, that is the update that we got here on hand. Things that did not change, however, deal more so in particular with the black market. Blackjack shop and special orders are all refreshed items, and none of them, unfortunately, are brand new. They're all repeats and things that we've seen before. So whenever we talked about the idea and the prospect of the Vampire Hunter Vapor variant coming in as the special orders, that unfortunately is not there, and so we're kind of left without anything that is brand new for the black market for quite some time now. But that said, that's where we're gonna wrap it up. That is everything that changed here within this update, or everything that I found so far. Let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. Is there anything that I may have missed? Is there anything in particular that you really enjoy out of this update? And seriously, give Gauntlets a go. Even if you're not a huge Zombies player, it is definitely something that'll keep you on your toes and also challenge the conventional playstyle of Zombies for the better. I think it's a ton of fun, and you guys will definitely enjoy it. That said, hopefully you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, make sure to drop a like down below. And of course, if you are new to the channel, make sure you guys subscribe so you don't miss a single thing regarding all things Black Ops 4, multiplayer, Blackout Zombies. We got you covered with the best of updates, news, information, tips, tricks, all that good stuff. We got you covered with all that. So if any of that interests you, hit that subscribe button so you don't miss a single thing. If you guys also want to follow me over on Twitter and Instagram, there's the best places to get connected outside of YouTube. Practically live on both those. So if you guys want to strike up a conversation, ask me a question, whatever it may be, link is down there in the description below for all that. So hopefully you guys have a fantastic day. Thank you all so much for watching. Mine's been Espresso. I'll see you guys later. Take care and peace.